cinder blocks are much cheaper and easier to do than wood. For one, wood is going to rot. Two, it might get termites. And with this, I can move this garden to anywhere else I want. I'll just have to grab those cinder blocks and move them. You can stack these cinder blocks 3 high if you wanted to. And I just ordered a dump truck of soil and fertilizer and stuck it in these beds, and then I just rejuvenate the soil after every harvest and throw what's in that little compost over there into the beds and get things going. So we got corn growing and pumpkins. We grow those together. They grow nice together. The pumpkin is supposed to provide like a cover for the ground to keep stuff from growing, to prevent it from choking out the corn. And then over here we have these potato bins where we just keep stacking in more and more straw and hay. And if you just keep stacking it in, the potatoes will just keep growing up and up and up and up. And we just harvested that one today. Those are apple trees. And so you want to be careful because you want to know where the sun is going. If the sun is rising over there and going up in the sky kind of like at a 90-degree angle and sitting over there, you don't want to plant too much tall stuff where on this side of the garden, because you don't want your plants to have too much blockage from the sun from these big tall plants. Now here's another thing, is that too much sun, like I discovered last year, too much sun will cook your plants. So I picked this spot because there's this big pecan tree here. So this garden will get about 8 or 9 hours of sun a day. And then you see how the garden is nice and shaded now. During the hottest part of the day, it's shaded. That way the plants don't just, cook. And, what I did this year, now we just harvested all of the garlic, but each one of these holes had garlic planted in the holes. And this was done to keep the bugs away from the plants so that they could get a chance to kind of get established. And they're pretty much established now. But garlic is a pretty good thing to use to keep bugs away. And this mulch, if instead of using just any mulch, you can use cedar mulch, and cedar mulch kills bugs. I should have did that. I didn't do that. I'll probably do that this year or next year when I remulch. And there's also plastic under this mulch to prevent stuff from growing, to keep these walkways open. Raspberries. Now that was a raspberry, but it died. We had to replant one. Those are raspberries. They've already been harvested. There's still some growing, but they're not ready yet. And here on this side of the yard, we have the vineyard planted, and it's doing well, although we did lose a couple vineyards, or a couple of vines, during the winter, so those will have to be replanted. But these grapes are doing great, and you just have to come out here every once in a while and grab the vine and just tie it up here with some rope to train it to grow on this trellis. Now the trellis, don't waste your time buying trellis wire because it's very expensive and you won't get a lot of trellis wire. Instead, buy electric fence wire. You get so much more electric fence wire than you do with trellis wire, and it works just as good. So, check these grapes out. They're doing great. Grapes are doing awesome. Hopefully, I'll get enough harvest of grapes this year to make some wine or something. Now, these grapes are only 2 years old, and that's already a great growth for 2 years. And now this is a problem because these grapes are supposed to get a little bit of sunlight. So, they're supposed to be about half sunlight, half shade. They need some sun, so I'll have to fix that later. Moving right along. Blackberries, check this out. 2 years ago, I planted these blackberries. This entire row is blackberries. Now look at this. Look at the amazing blackberries just growing all over the place. They're not ready yet, obviously, because they're still red. But this whole thing is going to be so much blackberries in my stomach soon, and blackberry pie and blackberry wine, whatever you want to do. Berries are the way to go. You want to definitely have berries that they grow fast and they produce a lot. Look at this. Whoa. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Also, elderberry tree. Elderberry trees grow really fast. This was planted 2 years ago and it's humongous. Provides shade. I got one in the chicken coop way over there. And these seeds are highly medicinal. And you can also make wine out of them, which I'm doing right now, as a matter of fact. Fig tree. Got a couple of fruit trees out here and apple trees. Over here, got loganberries. So loganberries are like a crossbreed between a raspberry and a blackberry. They are a lot bigger, I guess, because they're a hybrid. And I wanted to get the thornless, but they didn't have any. So we've been out here harvesting these. I think these get harvested a little bit sooner than the blackberry. And we've got about a gallon so far of loganberries. And then all along the front side of the house, we've got blueberries. Okay, there's a lot of blueberries, and we just planted these blueberries this year. These, we bought them at the store and planted them. They were already, you know, a small little tree or bush. Now look at them. They're doing good, and I didn't know that they were going to produce that much in the first year. There's just clusters of blueberries all over this stuff. And moving right along this way, we've got some herbs. That big bush right there is oregano. Okay, this is asparagus. Lots of asparagus and asparagus seeds. Now the reason it's so overgrown is because you can only harvest asparagus for so long in the spring, and then you have to stop harvesting and let it grow so that it could absorb enough nutrients to survive the next winter. Now these little asparagus bushes are going to live 20 years, and then you know, we'll cut these back down to nothing, and then we'll harvest a whole lot of asparagus soon. So maybe if somebody wants some seeds, I can send you some seeds. And then up there we've got some pear trees growing. And so that's kind of what we got going on up here at my place.